The Dodgers have discussed using Shohei Ohtani out of the bullpen in the playoffs. Deshaun Foster may have made the biggest mistake possible as UCLA coach, and the Chargers don't give specifics, but continue to happy talk the defense. Good morning. I'm James. And this is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is August 7th, 2025. Minneapolis. It's not covered in snow yet. Give it a few minutes. But we are still spreading the gospel of LA sports across the fruited plain. And if you like being in the know about LA, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop an update. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. By all means, comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, look at the scoreboard. Colorado 8, Dodgers 3. Ick. Meanwhile, Galaxy 2, Pachuca 1. The League's Cup quarterfinal. This is how goofy the League's Cup is. The worst team in MLS just advanced to the semifinals of the tournament by beating the team that leads Liga MX. Make it make sense. The Sparks edged Dallas 81-80 with 5 games left in the WNBA season. The Sparks remain a half game out of the final playoff spot. Meanwhile, today, the Dodgers are at Colorado at noon, and Orlando is at Angel City FC at 7. It's Angel City's first home game since June 7th. With that said, let's get to the news. Because we have spoken at length about the depth of the Dodgers starting pitching. Who makes the cut in a 6-man rotation when every other team pretty much has 5? That's how deep they are. Hell, they're going to the playoffs. Who makes the 4-man rotation? You just think off the top of your head, well, it's got to be Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow. Yoshinobu Yamamoto's been pretty damn solid. Oh, Clayton Kershaw's a Hall of Famer. And so after that, you're saying, there's your 4-man. Hell, 16 guys could be candidates. There have been 16 starting pitchers for LA this season. And then you're like, wait a second, Shohei Ohtani, remember him? Now, Mark Pryor took time away from admiring the collection of arms that he severed as Dodger pitching coach and said on a podcast he can envision Ohtani as a reliever in the playoffs. Moreover, he admitted there have already been multiple conversations among the Dodger Brain Trust as to how to best utilize Ohtani, including relief pitching. Now, Ohtani has pitched in relief before. If you watch the last World Baseball Classic, and by the way, you should, it's awesome. There was this amazing moment in the title game where Ohtani, representing Japan, faced Mike Trout of the USA in the 9th inning of that title game. Really compelling stuff. Moreover, while it is true that many of the rules Commissioner Rob Manfred has forced upon Major League Baseball, how they have been decidedly anti-Dodger rules, the Ohtani rule was created in 2022, which allows a starting pitcher to stay in the game as a designated hitter. Why? Oh, I don't know. Because you're going to keep the game's most marketable player on the field no matter what. Millions upon millions of Dodger jerseys being worn in Japan. That kind of says a little something. Granted, keeping a reliever in there is not as a DH is not the same as a starting pitcher, but perhaps a scenario could arise where a game goes extra innings. They think Ohtani can give them 4, so why not? Now, Dave Roberts, for his part, says he envisions Ohtani staying as a starter because he doesn't want to disrupt the MVP's preparation. As for bullpen ideas that don't sound insane, by the way, both Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates, they've already pitched a scoreless inning in relief for the Midwest Manure Pit. When asked if they were going to appear again for Oklahoma City, Roberts said, quote, Probably not. Which means, for all we know, they're back on a Southwest flight heading to civilization as we know it. We mentioned previously the 16 Dodgers starting pitchers this year. Don't forget, they love churning through relievers as well. There was a move made yesterday. They promoted Paul Gervais and demoted Alexis Diaz. You might recall Gervais was acquired at the trade deadline from Tampa Bay. So a lot of Dodger relief news to talk about. Feel free to let me know what you think in the comments thread. Deshaun Foster has pushed a lot of correct buttons in his first year leading UCLA football. The notable exception, of course, hiring Eric Bieniemy as offensive coordinator. But let's tuck that one to the side. Because before Foster was hired, UCLA football was in flames, right? So Foster, to his credit, made playing for the Bruins a thing again. He reached out to all the boosters, tried to rebuild the program's infrastructure. And their high school recruiting class for 2026 looks really promising. But he made a decision that could come back to haunt him. It doesn't sound major. It could have major impact. It's a decision that should have haunted Chip Kelly, but as has previously been established, Chip Kelly doesn't have a soul. Foster has restricted media access. No clips, no interviews, no access to the practice field. Now, if you've watched this channel at all, you know damn well that I think very little of the sports press. You know, somewhere beneath cheating spouses is where I put the sports press. But closing off practices, you may think that gives you a strategic advantage of some sort. Even if I grant you that, which I really don't, the trade-off is much worse. Just look across town, guys. Lincoln Riley was the golden child of coaching in LA football until he pulled the press credential of one guy, Luca Evans of the Orange County Register, and the entire sports press, both local and national, circled the wagons around Evans, and they just opened fire on Riley, and they have not stopped. That was 2 years ago. Even though Evans got his press pass back, even though the two of them talked it out privately and buried the hatchet, even though Evans now covers the Broncos for the Denver Post, everybody else in the media pool is doing whatever it takes to get Riley fired. That's how petty they are. You can be petty to the press if you want, but nobody does mean girl quite like the sports press. Is this really the smoke that Deshaun Foster wants? You see, Riley is insulated. He has this massive buyout clause in his contract, which Foster does not have. You could argue that that was a key factor for Kelly to leave UCLA and take a lesser job at Ohio State. He just hated dealing with the press. And the press hated dealing with him right back. And the program started to fade. It just seems so odd that it would come to this. Foster originally needed and definitely understood and used the press to get UCLA's name back out there. I've been doing this program for about 3.5 years, right? When Kelly was the coach, I had to really struggle to find any UCLA updates to put on this channel. I want to be complete. I want to talk about UCLA as much as USC. But it got so bad, I was amazed that Ben Bolch still had a job with the LA Times. He had nothing to write about. So now Foster's doing the same thing. And I'm not saying this out of hate for Foster. I'm saying this because I think it's for his own good. He is rolling the dice. for something that doesn't make a lot of sense. Because the people that he needed to use to rebuild bridges with, recruits, boosters, etc., they want to read and hear about UCLA football. And I don't think the program is sturdy enough to withstand the poop storm that he just invited. Now, I realize there are much more exciting things to talk about than the relationship between people in the sports press. But this could be a thing. And by the way, let me know what you think in the comments thread about that too. Totally willing to hear you out. The Chargers are acting as if every level of their defense is an impenetrable wall of awesome. This despite losing their best defensive lineman from last year. This despite having zero clarity in their entire defensive backfield. Nope, everybody is leveling up. Man, they are just a bunch of monsters, every single one of them, all the way down the depth chart. So is that legit? Is it? Or is training camp simply a 5-week Tony Robbins seminar? See, because I remember the Bolts wanting to keep Poona Ford instead of having him go to the Rams. After all, Ford was a one-man solution to the Chargers' run defensive woes. The dude played 604 snaps last year. Now they're trying to make it sound like they've got 7 killers in the locker room. That the Chargers' defensive line, every last one of them, they eat Chiefs and they poop Broncos. The key, according to the coaching staff, is going to be in expanding the rotation of linemen. Last year, they only used 4. Now, Tier Tart and Oticho Ogbonia were part of that rotation. They're still there. It could be that the 5 other guys getting snaps regularly will work. I don't claim confidence at all that it's going to work, but that's their plan. But wait, there's even more positivity in the confusion. Nothing but positivity, all the positivity. They still don't have definitive answers at cornerback, and the coaches are saying the same thing. I think we have 4 starters at the corner position. I feel great about the 4. That's what Jesse Minter told the LA Daily News. Now, I want to be clear about this. I'm not predicting total doom for the Chargers. I like their linebackers. I like their safeties. I like their edge rushers, right? But to say this entire defense is going to be rock solid, it really sounds like it's PR more than actual fact. Totally willing to be wrong. It sounds like PR. The Athletic reported that over the summer, the Kings considered trading defenseman Brant Clark, a first-round draft pick a few years ago. Now, you might recall they traded away Jordan Spence because new general manager Ken Holland thought that Spence and Clark were kind of a redundancy. Offensive-minded, kind of smaller, quick defensemen. There may be something else in play here if the story is to be believed, and I think it may be. I read multiple stories suggesting Holland likes bigger defensemen. Look at the free agent signings. It tends to hold up to that. Clark, however, is not that guy. He's not that big. So the report also claims Holland wants to see Clark play more before he makes up his mind. Former first-round draft pick has to prove himself. But I guess, don't we all? The Clippers have waved forward Drew Eubanks because, well, they're going to be damned if they have anyone in their 20s on this roster. They just don't want it. The oldest team in NBA history technically just got older. Those young whippersnappers, who wants them? But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me, for example, about Ohtani possibly being a Dodger reliever in the playoffs. And how much of an ish could UCLA football be in now? And if you enjoyed this update, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James, and we'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.